Hi guys, welcome to week 7 of virtual learning. This week we're going to be talking about Sgraffito and transfer printmaking. So the definition for Sgraffito is decoration by cutting away parts of a surface layer to expose a different colored background. And I have that picture off to the side of the feather. That is an example of Sgraffito. And then transfer printmaking is the act of transferring something that has already been printed onto another surface. So we'll talk about Sgraffito first. The word Sgraffito comes from the Italian word that means to scratch, and the technique began in Italy and dates back to around the 15th or 16th century, so a very long time ago. It was used a lot by a famous artist named Caravaggio, and he and his artist friends would decorate the outside of houses with this technique. And Sgraffito is basically the opposite of painting, where we paint layers on top of layers. They would have one layer of something on a wall. So say you had a tan wall, like on the picture to the right, and then you had this gray paint on top of it. And then they would take a tool and scratch away at that dark gray to reveal the light tan color on the bottom. And that's basically all they would do. It's a little more complicated than that, but think of the opposite of painting when you think of Sgraffito. So I basically just told you the process. You have some sort of color on the surface. That will be layer 1. Then you have another color. We're going to be using black to completely cover layer 1. That will be layer 2. And then you get a tool and scratch away at layer 2 to reveal layer 1. And that's exactly what the student is doing off to the side there in a simpler drawing than that crazy painting we saw on the last slide. So transfer printmaking is a little different. So printmaking is the activity or occupation of making pictures by printing them from specially prepared plates or blocks. And there are many different types of printmaking, and transfer printmaking is just one of those many. So the great wave painting in my room is actually made by printmaking. And originally it was not printed on the tapestries that I have. You can print anything you want now. But when it was created a long, long time ago in Japan, it was done on woodblock printing, which is different than transfer, but it is still a type of printmaking. The crayon transfer process is a little different. You start by coloring one full piece of paper, and then when you're finished, you flip the colored side down on top of a blank sheet of paper. So you have two papers stacked on top of each other, and you have the back of your colored sheet facing you. So with a pencil or pen, you draw your image on the back of the colored side, which will transfer your image onto the blank sheet of paper. And you can see that the student off to the right did just that. So you can pick one of these two to do. And what I wanted to say before the video starts is that you can use a black crayon or oil pastel instead of the black paint. And I'll put a little note down there in the bottom. But I usually use black paint when I'm doing Sgraffito things. So pick one or the other. You don't have to do both. If you want to try both, that's fine too. All right, guys, so we are going to start with our crayon transfer. So what you need for the crayon transfer is a piece of paper. I would get a thin piece of paper, like a piece of notebook paper from your notebook. And you want to color your whole piece in crayon. I have like a little small cut one here from when we did origami. So I'm just gonna take a minute and color it all in. The best colors to use are like darker colors because they're gonna look better. And you can just color it in, or you can make designs. They're not going to show through on the other piece of paper. You'll see what I mean in a second, but like if I did a heart, it's not gonna come through on the other page. But I'm still just gonna do it and have some fun. So I colored my little piece of paper. And then I'm going to get another piece of paper. I got a blank one, but you can do this on a notebook sheet of paper. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to put my drawing down. You want to make sure it's face down and you're drawing on the back of it. And then you're going to get a pencil. And I want you guys to draw a scene on, like a landscape scene, a cityscape, whatever, on the back of it. So if I draw a seascape, that means I draw like the ocean, sun, maybe some fish or dolphins or whatever. A cityscape would be like drawing like the city skyline of like New York City. We did that with 2nd and 3rd grade. So just pick a scene to draw. You could draw your house, you could draw the park, just a scene to draw. So I'm going to draw the ocean, the seascape. And I'm going to just draw like I'm drawing a picture on the back of this notebook paper. So I have my waves. And I'm bearing down kind of hard because I want it to transfer. Because what's going to happen is when you press down on your pencil, it's going to transfer. So I can lift up my page right now and just give you a little preview. That's how it's going to look. But I don't want to move it once it's on there. You could even tape it down or do something like that so then it doesn't move. But I sort of trust myself. So I'm just going to keep it like that. So the reason I asked you guys to draw a scene is because that's the most detailed it's going to be, because you want to fill up your whole paper. So with the scene, you're kind of given that opportunity to fill up your whole paper. Okay, so big reveal time. Woo! That looks pretty cool. I like that. So like you could color stuff in, like if I could put this back on top, I could color it in and then all that crayon could be transferred there. I just wanted to show you guys what the lines look like, but I like that. That looks really cool. Remember, try not to use like yellow or like super light colors because they won't show through as good as this did. And yeah, I can't wait to see y'all. They're gonna look awesome. So the other thing you can do if you have these materials at your house, so you can do one or the other. The other one is a Sgraffito lesson, and it does look really cool. It's kind of like those multicolored felt board things that you can like buy at the store, but you can make this one at your own house. So the materials you need for this is black paint, your crayons, a paintbrush, and you do need toothpicks for this. So I have some right here. I tried to use my pencil. You can try, but the problem with the pencil is that the lead, the gray of the lead will like show through on your paper. So what you could use if you don't have toothpicks is you could use like the back of a pen or any other sort of sharp object, like maybe a coin, like the top of like a marker or something, anything that you can scratch with that isn't going to leave a mark of its own, if that makes sense. So you're gonna color another piece of paper. I chose a thicker piece of paper since we're painting it, and so you don't have to do the drawing I did on the back. That was nothing. So I already did my colorful thing. I actually did our color wheel rainbow. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple / violet. And did it again. Missed the purple, but whatever. I have a little surface I paint on so then I don't mess up my table. So I'm gonna get that. Push my computer away. So once you have taken the time to color in your entire piece of paper, you are going to paint some black paint over it. And the black paint I have is just really cheap, Craft Smart acrylic paint. You can buy it at Walmart. Pretty sure you can buy it at Target. All right, so I painted over my entire pretty rainbow crayon thing. that took me forever to do. And then I'm going to let this sit for a little bit to dry. Okay, we're back. My piece is dry. I want to get that off of my thing because it looks gross. Okay, I picked up a few other things around my house that I could use to scratch with other than toothpicks if you do not have them, because we can make a lot of different things work. I have like the bottom of an earring, like any sort of metal pointy thing you can use. I also got some scissors to try. The bottom of my pen will work, so let's try a few different things. I'm gonna make the same scene I made last time because it's fresh on my brain and that's what I feel like doing. Alright, so the first thing I'm trying is the bottom of my earring to make my waves, and it looks pretty good. It honestly looks better than the toothpick. I mean, I don't have as good as control over it because it's so small, but it did clear away the paint pretty easily. So this is what's gonna happen when you scratch through dried paint on top of crayon. So you know from coloring with crayons, it's hard to get it off of like surfaces and stuff like that. It's because of that wax, and it really binds to the paper that it's on. So the paint will scratch away, but your crayon will stay there. All right, let's try the scissors for the next row of my waves. Scissors are okay. They are, they're kind of thicker than that little metal piece was. So it's not good for kind of like a cohesive line, which means all my lines won't look the same. That's all that means. And sometimes in work we want all of our lines to be like the same thickness. So that looks okay. Now I'm gonna try my pen. I like to make my little island. Ooh, that's a really thick line. That makes sense because my pen's cap is super thick. Okay, I mean, that's kind of cool for an island. And I mean, I can cut through more of my island to make it stand out. I think I kind of like the scissors. I'm gonna try to make my palm tree. Okay, so there's my finished product. And with both of these projects, the more lines, the more detail you add, the cooler it's gonna look. So I like how it turned out. I ended up using the little metal part of the bottom of my mermaid earring. You can tell I have a theme. I enjoy the water. So that ended up being a really nice thing to use. So any small pointy metal thing you have, you know, please be careful with small pointy metal things, but they work the best for this. So remember, choose one of the two you saw today. I can't wait to see these. I'm really excited. All right, bye guys.